Good day, everyone. I am Teacher Michael, and today we will be learning something new. They said that for someone to become successful in doing something, he or she must have a plan. And this planning involves processes that are all necessary or vital in achieving the desired result. In science, experimenting is somewhat like that. When you do an experiment, there is a specific process or procedures that you have to consider in order to get a reliable result. So, to start our lesson, let me present to you the objectives for today's discussion. The first objective is for you to define what scientific method is. Scientific method has been taught since like elementary years or primary years. So probably you already have idea about what scientific method is all about. Then you also need to cite the systematic ways of solving problem or in doing a scientific investigation. When we say systematic ways, there is somewhat like a system or pattern or order being followed. Specific, step one, step two, and step three. It's actually organized. Okay? So let's see what are the systematic ways in solving problems. So we will start discussing scientific method. What is your idea about scientific method? All right. So scientific method is said to be a step-by-step procedure used by scientists in conducting a scientific investigation. Now, scientists, when they are conducting an experiment, they have this specific step-by-step procedure being followed. Okay? And you might be wondering, like, why do they need to have this specific procedure? It is somewhat similar to cooking. If you are baking cookies or baking cake, there are steps that you need to follow in order for you to arrive with the result that you wanted to achieve at the end of the day. So scientists consider these step-by-step procedures as important guide for them to get a result, a scientific result that is reliable, okay, or that would verify an existing scientific idea. All right, so for in order or to start with the scientific investigation, the first thing that you have to do is to study the situation first. Okay, so of course, when you are going to conduct an experiment, there is a specific situation being studied upon. Okay, and based on the situation, you will get idea on what you want to study or on what you want to discover. For example, you are a farmer and you wanted to find out what is the most effective soil um, for the cabbage plant to grow faster, okay, or to grow healthy. So knowing the situation, okay, that you are planning to plant a cabbage plant and you wanted to know the type of soil that you want to use in that particular plant, the first thing that you have to consider is for you to identify the problem. What do I want to discover? What do I want to know? Okay. So in that situation, you are a farmer, the quality of soil is being considered in planting the cabbage. You can actually state your problem this way. What kind of soil should I use so that my cabbage will grow faster and healthy? So that can be your problem statement. What kind of soil should be used so that cabbage will grow faster and healthy? Now, after you identify the problem, you will make a research. You are going to conduct a research or gather information about the problem that you have actually made, or that you wanted to solve. Okay. Now, in conducting a research, okay, most of the mistakes committed by the students is that, or these are the common mistakes of students. First, they base the information gathered in a not so reliable, or in an unreliable websites, specifically the internet. Okay, there are some websites in the internet which gives you fake information. So you need to identify the websites that are reliable. Okay? Then second, do not only rely on the internet. You can also do a background research using books. Okay? And you can also use the journals. Okay? These would also help you understand better, okay, the problem that you have in mind. Now, this problem now will help you come up an initial answer to your problem. Okay? This is what we called hypothesis. Okay? Your hypothesis is not actually your final answer. I just want to clear things out. Your hypothesis is just your educated guess that answers the problem that you have actually, that you were able to make. Okay. Now, your hypothesis is not just a guess, but it is an educated guess. So when we say educated guess, it means that your guess is based on the scientific facts that have been gathered by the previous researchers, or scientific evidences based on previous studies conducted. Okay, so that's why we say educated guess. It's not just simply a guess, but an educated one. Now, if you already have the hypothesis, you already have this initial, somewhat like a guess to your problem, the best thing to do is for you to verify if your hypothesis is correct or not. And in order to verify your hypothesis, of course, you have to conduct an experiment. You have to test your hypothesis by conducting a scientific investigation. And in that scientific investigation, you will do several steps. Of course, it depends upon what, for example, if you wanted to find out the quality of soil, then you will try to compare and contrast the different types of soil. You will be observing the plants in each setups. You will prepare different setups, different types of soil, but the same amount of water, the same type of vegetable, the location where the setups will be placed. Everything is the same except for the type of soil. Because by having that kind of experiment, you are actually doing a fair testing. Okay? And fair testing will be explained later on. So, you identify the problem, you gather information about the problem, you state your hypothesis, then you are going to test your hypothesis. And after conducting an experiment, then you will be able to get results. So if you already have the results at hand, then you have to analyze the results, you have to interpret the results. Okay? And after analyzing and interpreting the results, then you can come up with your conclusion. Your conclusion is your final answer to the problem. So your conclusion also will verify if your educated guess is correct or not. Okay? But the most important thing in the conclusion, your conclusion should be your answer to the problem. Do not make conclusion that is very far, that does not coincide or that doesn't answer the problem. Okay? Because if that's the case, if your conclusion is different, is not an answer to your problem, then the experiment, the scientific investigation is useless. Okay? Now, after drawing a conclusion, if you want, you can actually stop in there, but if there are things that you would like to suggest or you would like to change, then we call that making recommendations. So it's good idea you can recommend your studies to agencies or government organizations, or let's say it depends upon what you are studying and what you are actually it depends upon what you are studying. Okay, so you make recommendations to those who are who can benefit from the study being conducted, or you can also make some suggestions, like you wanted to change something, if there is something that you would like to change in the experiment. So if you will, this is just the basic, okay, the basic information about what scientific method is. If you're going to check the internet, or if you are going to check some books, they have added something, but I'm just giving you the basic one because these are really very important. So the first thing to do is to identify the problem. You gather information about the problem, then you test the hypothesis. No, you state your hypothesis, then you are going to test if your hypothesis can be accepted or not by conducting an experiment. Then you will analyze the result of the experiment, then you will draw a conclusion, and you'll make some recommendations if necessary. Okay, so that's those are the scientific methods or the step-by-step procedures used by scientists in conducting an investigation. Now, if you have some questions, please don't hesitate to drop your comments, and I'll be more than willing to answer those during the class discussion. Thank you so much.